Hi dear. Welcome to your favorite audiobook channel Wisdom Flicks, Mastering the Art of Persuasion, a practical guide to influence. Unlock the secrets to influencing anyone, anytime, anywhere. Whether you want to inspire, lead, or simply be heard, Mastering the Art of Persuasion gives you practical, ethical tools to transform your communication and change lives, including your own. Ready to become the person others can't say no to? Your journey starts here. Introduction: Mastering the Art of Persuasion. A practical guide to influence. Persuasion is not magic. It's not a trick, a gimmick, or a shortcut to manipulate others. At its core, persuasion is a skill, a powerful, learnable, and essential human ability that shapes relationships, careers, businesses, and even society itself. From the moment we wake up, we are engaged in countless acts of influence. Whether you're asking for a favor, negotiating a raise, leading a team, presenting an idea, or encouraging someone to see your point of view, you are persuading. Some people seem to do it effortlessly. They walk into a room and command attention. They speak, and people listen. They make a point, and others are moved to act. What's their secret? Is it charm, charisma, confidence? Partly, but mostly it's skill, an understanding of how humans think, feel, and decide. This book is your guide to mastering that skill. What is persuasion? Persuasion is the art of changing minds and influencing behavior, ethically and intentionally. It is not manipulation. Where manipulation is coercive, persuasion is collaborative. Where manipulation forces an outcome, persuasion invites agreement. It respects the autonomy of others while guiding their choices through thoughtful communication, emotional intelligence, and strategic action. Persuasion happens in every arena of life. In personal relationships, it's the difference between conflict and connection. In business, it's what sets apart the leaders from the followers. In public life, it's the force that drives change and shapes opinion. Whether you're a teacher, entrepreneur, manager, parent, coach, or creator, persuasion is your most valuable tool. Why persuasion is a superpower every day. The world is flooded with voices. Some are heard, most are ignored. In a noisy, distracted society, being able to influence others is not just helpful, it's crucial. The ability to persuade means the ability to lead, inspire, sell, connect, and move people toward a goal. It gives you leverage in negotiations, clarity in communication, and an edge in decision-making. More than just getting what you want, persuasion helps you create alignment. It builds bridges instead of walls. It fosters collaboration, not competition. And in a world where ideas are currency, the one who can communicate and convince will always stay ahead. Imagine having the power to enter a conversation and guide its direction. Imagine being able to inspire others to take action not because they have to, but because they genuinely want to. That's what mastering the art of persuasion allows you to do. Who this book is for? This book is for the professional who wants to lead more effectively. It's for the entrepreneur trying to win investors, customers, and team loyalty. It's for the speaker or coach seeking to inspire an audience. It's for the parent who wants to raise confident, emotionally intelligent children. It's for the student, the job seeker, the partner, the friend. In short, this book is for anyone who wants to be heard, understood, and respected. Anyone who wants to shape outcomes without force and build influence that lasts. Whether you're just beginning to explore the world of persuasion or looking to sharpen a skill you've used for years, this guide will serve as a practical, real-world roadmap. How to use this book. Each chapter is designed to take you one step deeper into the art and science of persuasion. You'll start by understanding the psychological foundations of influence. What makes people say yes, what drives decisions, and how trust is built. Then, you'll move into the practical tools, the words, gestures, habits, and strategies used by master persuaders. Along the way, you'll learn how to apply these techniques ethically and effectively in real-life situations, conversations, presentations, meetings, sales, and even online. At the end of the book, you'll find a 30-day persuasion practice plan, a structured way to begin applying what you've learned step by step. The goal is not just to read about persuasion, but to live it, test it, and refine it through practice. We've also chosen a writing style that's easy to follow, engaging to listen to, and tailored for narration. Whether you're listening to this audiobook during a walk, a commute, or a quiet moment. The tone will be clear, calm, and conversational, designed to inform and inspire without overwhelming you with jargon or theory. A note on ethics: persuasion is a responsibility. Like any powerful tool, it can be used to uplift or to exploit. This book stands firmly for ethical influence. That means using persuasion to bring value, create understanding, and foster positive change. It's not about tricking people, it's about connecting with them. It's not about control, it's about collaboration. True influence is rooted in respect. That if you're looking for shortcuts to manipulate or deceive, this is not the book for you. But if you want to develop authentic, long-term influence that earns trust, builds respect, and delivers results, then keep reading. You're in the right place. Final thoughts before we begin: influence isn't reserved for the chosen few. It's not an inborn talent that only leaders or extroverts possess. It's a skill, and like any skill, it can be learned, practiced, and mastered. In the chapters ahead, you'll discover the timeless principles, proven techniques, and subtle insights that make great persuaders so effective. More importantly, you'll learn how to apply them in your life, authentically, confidently, and ethically. Let's begin the journey that you're about to unlock a superpower. Chapter 1. The Psychology of Persuasion: understanding how people think, feel, and decide. Before you can master persuasion, you must first understand the terrain in which persuasion operates, the human mind. At its heart, persuasion is psychological. It's not about clever tricks or smooth talk. It's about connecting with how people think, feel, and behave. The more you understand the psychology of human decision-making, the more effective you become at guiding it. In this chapter, we will explore the foundational elements of persuasion psychology. You'll learn what drives behavior, how people process information, and why they say yes. With this insight, you'll begin to see every conversation, presentation, or negotiation through a new lens, one that gives you the ability to influence with clarity, purpose, and integrity. Understanding human behavior: human beings are not purely logical creatures. While we like to believe we make rational decisions based on facts, the truth is that most decisions are driven by emotion and justified with logic afterward. We are wired to respond to feelings before thoughts, to instincts before analysis. Understanding this basic truth is the first step toward mastering persuasion. People are influenced by 5 core emotional needs. Safety: people want to feel secure, physically, emotionally, and financially. Belonging: we are social creatures. We crave acceptance, inclusion, and connection. Esteem: everyone wants to feel respected, valued, and competent. Meaning: people are motivated by purpose. They want their actions to matter. Freedom: autonomy is essential. No one likes being forced or pressured. When you appeal to these emotional drivers, you create resonance. You stop sounding like a salesperson or a persuader and start sounding like someone who understands what truly matters to others. That's when real influence begins. The science behind influence: decades of psychological research have uncovered several principles that explain how and why people are persuaded. One of the most influential voices in this field is Dr. Robert Cialdini, whose work identified 6 core principles of persuasion. Reciprocity: people tend to return favors. When you give value, people feel compelled to give back. Commitment and consistency: people like to be consistent with what they've already said or done. Small commitments lead to larger ones. Social proof: we look to others to decide what's correct. If others are doing it, we're more likely to do it too. Authority: we are influenced by those we perceive as knowledgeable or credible. Liking: we are more easily persuaded by people we like or relate to. Scarcity: people want more of what they can have less of. Limited availability increases desire. These principles are not tricks. They reflect natural human tendencies you can ethically align with to increase your influence. Mastering these psychological levers gives you a persuasive edge in almost any setting. Emotional versus logical persuasion: a common mistake is assuming that persuasion should always be logical. While logic has its place, it's emotion that truly moves people. Emotion grabs attention, creates connection, and drives action. Logic is what people use to justify the decision they've already made emotionally. For example, we buy a luxury watch not just because it tells time, but because it signals success. We vote for a candidate not just because of policies, but because of how they make us feel. We follow a brand not just for the product, but for the story behind it. Effective. Persuaders know how to speak both languages, emotion and logic. They lead with emotion to capture the heart and follow with logic to satisfy the mind. The emotional appeal says, "This feels right," and the logical explanation says, "This makes sense." The core drivers, desire, fear, and trust every persuasive message taps into at least one of three core motivators. Desire, the longing for something better. This includes aspirations like success, wealth, happiness, health, or love. Persuasion often involves painting a picture of a desired future and showing how your idea or offer gets someone there. Fear, the avoidance of pain, loss, or danger. While fear can be powerful, it must be used responsibly. Fear-based persuasion is effective when it also offers a solution, a path to safety or resolution. Trust, the belief that the person persuading you has your best interest at heart. Without trust, no persuasive effort will succeed for long. With trust, even bold ideas gain traction. Trust is built through consistency, honesty, empathy, and shared values. Here's a simple way to think about it. Desire attracts. Fear alerts. Trust anchors. When you combine all three, you have a persuasive message that draws people in, makes them care, and gives them confidence to act. How the brain processes persuasion. Modern neuroscience shows us that the brain processes persuasive messages through two pathways. The fast, emotional brain, System 1. This system is automatic, intuitive, and emotional. It responds quickly, but not always accurately. It's what you rely on when you make snap judgments or gut decisions. The slow, rational brain, System 2. This system is deliberate, analytical, and slower. It's responsible for careful reasoning, weighing pros and cons, and solving problems. Most persuasive messages succeed when they appeal first to System 1, the emotional brain, then give just enough information to satisfy System 2. This explains why compelling storytelling, visual cues, or passionate delivery often outperform cold facts alone. The power of identity. One of the most underrated psychological triggers is identity, the way people see themselves. People are far more likely to take action when that action aligns with their identity. If you can connect your message to how someone sees themselves or how they want to be seen, you've made persuasion effortless. For example, a person who identifies as a leader is more likely to respond to a message framed as, "Step into your leadership." A customer who sees themselves as eco-conscious is more likely to buy a product that highlights sustainability. A team member who wants to be seen as reliable will respond to a request that emphasizes trust and responsibility. Influence becomes far easier when you align your message with the other person's values, beliefs, or aspirations. You're not asking them to become someone else. You're affirming who they already believe they are. The ethical use of persuasion psychology. As you begin to understand the powerful psychology behind influence, you may also begin to see how easy it is to misuse. That's why the ethical foundation matters. Always remember, persuasion is about guiding, not coercing. It's about helping people make better decisions, not forcing them into choices they'll regret. Use these tools to create value, build connection, and earn trust. Influence, when practiced with integrity, has the power to elevate lives, your own and those around you. Key takeaways from Chapter 1. People are driven more by emotion than logic. Core emotional needs like safety, belonging, and esteem influence behavior. Persuasion principles such as reciprocity, authority, and social proof are deeply rooted in human psychology. The best persuasion appeals first to emotion, then follows with logic. Desire, fear, and trust are the three most powerful motivators. Identity shapes decisions. Align your message with who people believe they are. Influence must be grounded in ethics and empathy. In the next chapter, we'll explore what it takes to develop the mindset of a great persuader. You'll discover how confidence, empathy, and emotional intelligence combine to create the kind of presence that naturally influences others, without pressure, pretense, or manipulation. Chapter 2. The Persuader's Mindset. Think like a leader, influence like a master of persuasion is the art of guiding others toward agreement or action. Then your mindset is the canvas on which that art is painted. Technique matters, but it is your mindset, your beliefs, your presence, your emotional intelligence that determines how your message is received. Before you master what to say or how to say it, you must master how to think. In this chapter, we'll explore the internal landscape of a master persuader. What do they believe about themselves and others? How do they manage emotions? What mental habits make them so influential? The goal is to help you adopt the mindset that allows persuasion to flow naturally, ethically, and effectively. The foundation of influence. Self-belief. Persuasion begins with you. If you don't believe in your own value, why should anyone else? Great. Persuaders radiate confidence, not arrogance, but calm self-assurance. They speak with clarity, not because they memorize words, but because they trust their thoughts. They listen, not out of obligation, but because they value connection. All of this stems from a mindset of self-belief. Develop it. Know your worth. You don't need to be perfect to be persuasive. You only need to be real, prepared, and aligned with your values. Let go of approval seeking. The need to be liked can weaken your message. Influence is not about pleasing everyone. It's about standing firm in your purpose while remaining open to others. Practice self-talk. What you say to yourself shapes what others hear from you. Replace doubt with encouragement. Speak to yourself the way you'd speak to someone you admire. Self-belief is contagious. When you're centered, people feel it. They listen more closely. They trust more quickly. They follow more easily. Authenticity over performance. You do not need to pretend to be someone else to be persuasive. In fact, the opposite is true. People can sense when you're wearing a mask, and it pushes them away. Authenticity means showing up as your true self. It doesn't mean saying everything that crosses your mind. It means being honest, aligned, and consistent. When your words match your actions and your intentions match your tone, people believe you. And when people believe you, they are open to being influenced by you. Here's what authentic persuaders do. Speak from values, not scripts. Admit when they don't know something. Own their flaws and highlight their strengths without exaggeration. Listen more than they speak. You don't need a louder voice. You need a truer one. The most persuasive people are not those who try to impress, but those who strive to connect. Emotional intelligence. The heart of persuasion. At the core of persuasion lies a powerful skill, emotional intelligence, EQ. EQ is the ability to understand your own emotions and the emotions of others. It's what allows you to stay calm under pressure, read a room, and know when to push or pause. There are 5 key components of EQ every persuader should cultivate. Self-awareness. Know your triggers, strengths, and blind spots. Be aware of how you're coming across. Self-regulation. Stay composed, even when conversations become intense. Emotional control earns respect. Motivation. Be driven by values, not ego. A purpose-driven persuader is far more compelling. Empathy. Tune into others. Understand their fears, hopes, and motivations. Influence begins with understanding. Social skills. Build rapport, resolve conflict, and inspire trust. These are the tools of connection. A persuasive person isn't someone who talks a lot. It's someone who listens, reads cues, adapts, and responds with presence. Emotional intelligence transforms your message from a monologue into a meaningful dialogue. The power of empathy. Empathy is not weakness. It's a superpower in persuasion. It allows you to see the world through the eyes of others, to feel what they feel, and to speak to their inner world rather than just their outer behavior. When you lead with empathy, you make others feel seen and heard. You lower defenses and open doors. You reduce resistance and increase receptiveness. Empathy doesn't mean agreeing with everything. It means acknowledging the emotions behind someone's perspective. It's saying, I understand how you feel, even if you don't share the same view. In persuasive conversations, empathy is often the difference between a breakthrough and a breakdown. Ethics and intention. Persuasion is powerful, and with power comes responsibility. Your mindset must be rooted in ethics. Always ask yourself, am I helping or pressuring? Am I offering value or just seeking gain? Would I be okay if someone used this approach on me? Long-term influence is built on trust, not tactics. Your intention will always find a way to reveal itself through tone, timing, and energy. When your intentions are good, your message carries integrity. And integrity is magnetic. Influence that lacks ethics may win in the short term, but loses in the long run. Influence with ethics creates loyalty, trust, and respect. Growth over perfection. Wait until you feel ready. to persuade. Don't hold back because you think you need more experience, more polish, or more knowledge. Start now. Grow as you go. Great persuaders are not flawless. They are committed learners. They treat every interaction as practice, every mistake as feedback, and every success as a lesson. Adopt a growth mindset by reflecting after important conversations. What worked? What didn't? What can you improve next time? Seeking feedback from those you trust. Staying curious. Study people. Observe interactions. Ask questions. You will never reach a point where you've mastered persuasion completely. It's a living skill, one that evolves with you. But the mindset of growth ensures that you're always improving, always becoming more capable, and always ready for the next opportunity to influence. Courage and calm persuasion often requires courage. Courage to speak up. Courage to disagree respectfully. Courage to ask for what you want or challenge someone's perspective. Without courage, influence dies in silence. But courage doesn't mean aggression. True courage is calm. It's firm, without being forceful. It's confident without being combative. When you can stay composed under pressure, others feel safe around you. And when people feel safe, they're more likely to be persuaded. Develop calm courage by breathing deeply before you speak, grounding yourself in facts and values, accepting that not every effort will succeed, and that's okay. Some of the most persuasive moments happen in the pauses, the silences, the spaces between words. Let your calm speak as loudly as your voice. The inner dialogue of a persuader, the way you talk to yourself, shapes the way you talk to others. To develop the mindset of a master persuader, pay attention to your inner dialogue. Replace "what if they reject me" with "what value can I offer here?" I'm not good enough to influence others. With every interaction is a chance to learn. I hope they agree with me, with I hope I understand them well. Speak to yourself with clarity and purpose. Persuasion starts on the inside. Key takeaways from Chapter 2. Confidence, authenticity, and empathy are the foundation of influence. Emotional intelligence helps you understand and guide emotions, your own and others. Empathy builds connection. Ethics build trust. Growth matters more than perfection. Every interaction is a step forward. Calm, courageous presence makes your voice more persuasive than force ever could. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to build instant trust and credibility. You'll learn why first impressions matter, how to position yourself as an authority without arrogance, and what to do to become the kind of person people naturally listen to and follow. Chapter 3. Building instant trust and credibility becomes someone people listen to, follow, and believe in the world of persuasion. Trust is the bridge between your message and someone else's willingness to hear it. Without trust, even the most carefully crafted arguments fall flat. Without credibility, your words may be ignored, dismissed, or doubted, no matter how brilliant they are. Trust isn't something you can demand. It's something you earn, quickly, quietly, and consistently. And the good news? It can be built faster than most people think. Sometimes in the very first few seconds of meeting someone. In this chapter, we'll uncover how to build instant trust and lasting credibility. You'll learn how to create strong first impressions, present yourself as competent and trustworthy, and earn the kind of reputation that makes people lean in when you speak. Why trust is the currency of influence. Influence without trust is manipulation. Influence with trust is leadership. When someone trusts you, they're open to your ideas. They don't question your motives. They feel safe listening to you, considering your perspective, and even following your guidance. Trust creates space for persuasion to work. Without it, there's resistance, doubt, and defensiveness. Credibility, meanwhile, answers a fundamental question in every listener's mind. Why should I listen to you? Together, trust and credibility create a magnetic presence. You become the kind of person others feel confident around. They believe you, not just because of what you say, but because of who you are and how you show up. First impressions. The trust trigger. First impressions happen fast. Research shows people form opinions within the first 7 seconds of meeting you. Sometimes, even sooner. These early judgments are not always fair, but they are powerful. And they're often based on subtle cues like your body language, facial expression, tone of voice, and energy. To create a positive, trustworthy first impression. Stand tall. Good posture conveys confidence and competence. Smile genuinely. A real smile is a universal signal of friendliness and warmth. Make eye contact. It shows that you're present, honest, and engaged. Use a calm, clear tone. Avoid speaking too fast or too soft. Dress appropriately. Your appearance should match the context and show respect for your audience. Remember, people trust people who feel familiar, calm, and competent. Your goal is to make them feel safe and understood, not overwhelmed or unsure. The Trust Equation author David Maister introduced a simple formula for trust that is highly useful in both business and personal influence. Trust equals credibility plus reliability plus intimacy divided by self-orientation. Let's break this down. Credibility. Do you know what you're talking about? Are you qualified, experienced, or knowledgeable? Reliability. Do you follow through? Can people count on you to do what you say? Intimacy. Do people feel safe being open with you? Are you warm, respectful, and emotionally aware? Self-orientation. Are you focused on others or just on yourself? The lower your self-orientation, the more you focus on the needs, feelings, and goals of others, the higher the trust. Great persuaders reduce their self-interest and amplify their audience's importance. That's what earns deep, lasting trust. Authority. Without arrogance, people naturally defer to those they see as authorities, experts, professionals, leaders. But there's a fine line between positioning yourself as an authority and coming across as arrogant. Establish authority gracefully. Lead with value. Demonstrate your expertise by helping, not by boasting. Share results, not just titles. Don't just say what you've done. Show what outcomes you've created. Use humility as strength. Acknowledge what you're still learning. This builds authenticity and makes your confidence feel real. Quote or reference respected sources. Aligning your insights with trusted names or data can raise your perceived authority. You don't have to be the world's top expert to be seen as credible. You just need to be prepared, confident, and willing to serve others with what you know. The power of consistency. Credibility is not built on a single moment. It's built on consistency. You can say all the right things, but if your actions don't match your words, people will stop believing you. On the other hand, when you show up consistently, reliable in your values, your tone, your follow-through, you become someone people feel safe around. Ways to build consistency. Show up on time. Punctuality signals respect and reliability. Keep your promises, big or small. Doing what you say earns long-term trust. Stay emotionally steady. Don't swing between extremes. People trust those who are emotionally grounded. Communicate clearly and often. Don't leave people guessing. Be clear, direct, and transparent. Over time, consistency turns into reputation. And reputation is what makes persuasion feel effortless. Be a mirror, not a spotlight. One of the quickest ways to earn trust is to shift the focus off yourself and onto the other person. People trust those who see them, hear them, and understand them. Instead of trying to impress people, try to mirror them. Reflect their values, speak their language, align with their concerns. Here's how. Use their words back to them. Acknowledge their emotions without judgment. Match their pace and tone in conversation, subtly, not theatrically. Focus on their goals and how you can help them reach them. Trust grows when people feel like you get them. Not when you try to shine brighter, but when you make them feel seen. The role of vulnerability. While confidence is important, so is vulnerability. Trust is not just built by showing your strengths. It's also built by showing your humanity. When appropriate, share a mistake you've learned from, a challenge you've overcome, a question you're still exploring. This doesn't make you seem weak. It makes you relatable. It signals honesty. And honesty is the backbone of trust. In Persuasion, vulnerability makes you more real, and being real is far more persuasive than being perfect. How to recover trust when it's broken. No one is perfect. Sometimes, even with the best intentions, trust gets damaged. But credibility can be rebuilt if you approach it with humility and clarity. If you've made a mistake, own it fully. Avoid excuses. Acknowledge what happened. Apologize sincerely, not just for the outcome, but for the impact. Explain what you'll do differently. Show growth. Give it time. Rebuilding trust takes patience and consistency. How you respond to mistakes often speaks louder than the mistakes themselves. Leaders, persuaders, and professionals who handle failure with integrity usually come back stronger and more respected. Key takeaways from Chapter 3. Trust is the foundation of all influence. Without it, persuasion fails. First impressions matter. Aim for confidence, calm, and connection. Use the trust equation: credibility, reliability, intimacy, and low self-orientation. Establish authority through results and humility, not ego. Consistency in your words, tone, and actions builds long-term credibility. Focus on others. See them, mirror them, serve them. Vulnerability makes you relatable. Realness builds trust. If trust is broken, own it, fix it, and grow from it. In the next chapter, we'll dive into the language of influence. You'll discover the specific words, phrases, and storytelling techniques that move people emotionally and intellectually, and how to speak in ways that not only make people listen but also remember and act. Chapter 4. The language of influence. Language is one of the most powerful tools we possess. It can inspire, uplift, and connect, or it can divide, manipulate, and confuse. For those who seek to master the art of persuasion, understanding how to use language effectively is essential. Words are not just carriers of information. They are instruments of influence, shaping how people think, feel, and act. In this chapter, we explore how to wield language persuasively, using both what we say and how we say it to leave a lasting impression. Point 1. Words shape perception. Before we delve into specific persuasive techniques, it's important to understand a fundamental principle: language shapes reality. The words you choose determine how your message is received. People don't just hear your words. They interpret them, color them with emotion, and assign meaning based on their own experiences. For example, compare the phrases affordable housing and low-income housing. Both refer to similar things, but the former has a more positive, inclusive tone, while the latter may carry stigma. Persuasive communicators are always aware of the emotional undertone behind their language choices. Actionable tip: use words that reflect your intent, but also consider how they will feel to the person hearing them. Point 2. The power of framing. Framing refers to how information is presented. The same set of facts can be interpreted in dramatically different ways depending on how they are framed. Imagine a doctor telling a patient, "You have a 90% chance of survival," versus, "You have a 10% chance of dying." Statistically identical, but emotionally worlds apart. The first frame creates hope, the second, fear. Persuasive people master framing to guide others toward favorable interpretations and decisions without altering the facts. Use positive framing when you want to inspire action or agreement. Use contrast framing to highlight value. For instance, this option is 30% faster than the alternative. 3. The rule of 3. There's something inherently satisfying about things presented in threes. Our brains are wired to recognize patterns, and the number 3 is just enough to create a pattern without overwhelming the listener. Think of famous phrases: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Stop, look, and listen. I came, I saw, I conquered. In persuasion, this technique can be used to emphasize benefits, drive home points, or summarize ideas clearly. It gives rhythm and balance to your message, making it more memorable. Actionable tip: structure your arguments, examples, or benefits in groups of 3.4. Storytelling as persuasion. Stories are the ultimate tool for emotional influence. Facts appeal to logic, but stories engage the heart. They make abstract ideas tangible and distant concepts relatable. A persuasive communicator doesn't just present information, they wrap it in a story, whether it's a personal anecdote, a metaphor, or a case study. A story gives your message weight. It builds empathy and allows your audience to mentally step into the scenario you're presenting. Key storytelling structure: setup, introduce the context and characters. Conflict, present the challenge or struggle. Resolution, show the solution, ideally aligning with your persuasive message. Actionable tip: incorporate at least one short story or real-life example in your conversation or presentation to strengthen your impact. Point 5. Strategic use of questions. Questions are powerful because they engage the mind of your listener. They spark curiosity, interrupt thought patterns, and gently lead others to your desired conclusion without direct confrontation. Types of persuasive questions: Rhetorical questions, used to make a point rather than elicit an answer. Do you really want to waste another year doing the same thing? Leading questions, direct the listener toward a desired response. Wouldn't it make sense to try a method that's already proven to work? Choice-based questions, offer limited, favorable options. Would you prefer to start today or tomorrow? Actionable tip, use questions to guide thinking, reduce resistance, and keep your audience engaged. Point 6. The subtle influence of voice and tone. Persuasion isn't just about the words you say, it's also how you say them. Your voice carries intention, confidence, and emotion. Tone can be the difference between sounding commanding or condescending, sincere or manipulative. Techniques to master your tone. Vary your pace. Speed up to convey urgency. Slow down to emphasize importance. Use pauses. Silence creates space for impact and lets ideas settle. Lower your tone slightly when making key points. A deeper tone often conveys authority and calm confidence. Actionable tip, record yourself speaking and play it back. Observe your vocal patterns, adjust pace and tone, and ensure alignment with your intended message. Point 7. Power words and phrases. Certain words have been shown to trigger stronger responses in people. These power words appeal to deep psychological triggers like safety, belonging, desire, and authority. Examples of power words. You makes your message personal and engaging. Because justifying requests increases compliance. Now encourages immediate action. Imagine sparks visualization and emotional investment. Proven implies trustworthiness and authority. Secret creates intrigue and curiosity. Use these words strategically, but sparingly. Overuse can make your communication feel manipulative or insincere. Point 8. Avoiding persuasive pitfalls. While language can elevate your influence, misuse can backfire. Here are common mistakes to avoid. Overcomplicating your message. Simplicity persuades. Complexity confuses. Using jargon. Unless your audience shares your vocabulary, technical terms alienate. Sounding overly rehearsed. Audiences connect with natural, authentic speech. Actionable tip, always speak to your audience, not at them. Keep your message clear, direct, and personal. Final thoughts. The art of influence lies not in overpowering others, but in guiding them through language, tone, and emotion toward new perspectives. When you learn to use language as a bridge rather than a barrier, persuasion becomes effortless. You don't need to push, pressure, or demand. You simply present your ideas with clarity, intention, and authenticity, and let your words do the work. In the next chapter, we'll dive into the emotional drivers of decision-making and how to ethically tap into them to enhance your influence. Chapter 5. Mastering Nonverbal Persuasion. When it comes to persuasion, what you say is only part of the equation. In fact, studies consistently show that nonverbal communication, your body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, and gestures, often carries more weight than the actual words you use. This chapter explores how to use nonverbal persuasion to reinforce your message, establish authority, and create a sense of connection that words alone cannot achieve. The power of unspoken influence. Before a single word leaves your mouth, people begin forming impressions based on your posture, eye contact, and demeanor. Nonverbal cues are processed faster than verbal ones, and often subconsciously, meaning people feel something about you before they think anything specific. This is especially crucial in persuasion, where trust, confidence, and likability can be communicated silently and instantly. Mastering nonverbal persuasion allows you to influence how others perceive you and respond to your message. It enhances your verbal communication and often determines whether your message will be accepted or ignored. Point 1. Posture, the foundation of presence. Your posture speaks volumes. Slouched shoulders, crossed arms, and a downward gaze convey insecurity, defensiveness, or disinterest. In contrast, a strong, upright posture exudes confidence, authority, and openness. How to apply? Stand tall with your shoulders relaxed and your spine aligned. Keep your chest open and avoid crossing your arms. Lean slightly forward to show interest during conversations. Occupy space naturally. Avoid shrinking yourself, as it communicates weakness. That a powerful posture not only influences how others perceive you, but also how you feel about yourself. Research on power poses has shown that adopting expansive, confident postures can increase feelings of dominance and decrease stress hormones. Point 2. Eye contact, the bridge of connection. Eye contact is one of the most direct forms of nonverbal communication. It conveys attention, sincerity, and confidence. It can also build intimacy, establish credibility, or, when used incorrectly, create discomfort. Persuasive use of eye contact. Maintain eye contact about 60 to 70% of the time during conversations. Don't stare. Alternate between looking into the person's eyes and briefly glancing away. When speaking in groups, make sure to distribute eye contact evenly. Use softer eye contact when building rapport and firmer contact when asserting authority. Remember, different cultures have different norms for eye contact, so adapt accordingly when interacting in diverse environments. Point 3. Facial expressions. Your emotional display. Your face reflects your inner emotions, whether intentional or not. A genuine smile can create warmth and trust, while a furrowed brow or clenched jaw can trigger resistance. To enhance your persuasive presence. Use expressive but controlled facial expressions that match your message. Smile genuinely, especially when greeting or closing a conversation. Practice neutral expressions that convey calmness, especially when discussing sensitive topics. Mirror the facial expressions of others subtly to build rapport. Your facial expressions should be congruent with your message. If you're saying something positive but frowning, people will trust your expression over your words. Point 4. Gestures. Amplifiers of your message. Gestures can reinforce or contradict your words. When used effectively, they help paint a picture, emphasize key points, and keep your listener engaged. Effective gestures in persuasion. Use open-handed gestures to signal honesty and approachability. Keep your movements purposeful. Avoid fidgeting or erratic hand motions. Pointing can seem aggressive. Instead, use a whole hand gesture when directing attention. Match gestures to your speech rhythm to make your communication more fluid and dynamic. Gestures should appear natural. Practiced, rehearsed movements often feel robotic or inauthentic. The key is to be intentional while still appearing spontaneous. Point 5. Tone of voice. The music behind the words. The way you say something can be more persuasive than the words themselves. Your tone of voice conveys emotion, authority, urgency, or empathy. A flat or monotone voice might signal boredom or disinterest, while an enthusiastic, warm tone invites engagement. Control your vocal qualities. Vary your pitch and pace to maintain listener interest. Slow down slightly when emphasizing important points. Lower your tone slightly when making authoritative statements. Use pauses strategically. They can signal confidence and give your words weight. A persuasive tone is confident, clear, and emotionally intelligent. It should match both the content and the intent of your message. Point 6. Proxemics. The use of space. How close you stand to someone can either enhance your connection or make them uncomfortable. This is the science of proxemics. How physical space affects communication. Guidelines for persuasive use of space. Respect personal boundaries. Most people prefer 2 to 3 feet of distance during one-on-one conversations. In persuasive situations, gradually reducing physical distance while monitoring the other person's comfort level can build closeness. Use space intentionally in group settings. Standing or sitting at the center of a room or at the head of a table often signals leadership. Proxemics must be read situationally. Too close, too fast can feel invasive. Too distant can appear disinterested. Point 7. Mirroring. The subtle path to rapport. Mirroring involves subtly reflecting the posture, gestures, tone, or pace of the person you're speaking with. It creates a subconscious feeling of similarity and connection, which can lower resistance and increase trust. To mirror effectively. Start by observing the other person's nonverbal cues. Reflect them subtly, not mimicking them directly. Use mirroring to enhance rapport, especially during initial interactions. When done skillfully, mirroring builds a sense of "you're like me," which is one of the most persuasive psychological triggers. Point 8. Managing nervous habits. Nervous habits. Tapping your foot, biting your nails, excessive blinking can distract or undermine your authority. They often emerge under pressure but can be controlled with practice and awareness. To overcome them. Video record yourself during mock conversations to observe habits. Practice deep breathing to calm your body. Use purposeful movement to channel nervous energy. Replacing unconscious habits with deliberate actions strengthens your presence and reinforces your message. Bringing it all together, mastering nonverbal persuasion isn't about faking confidence. It's about aligning your physical communication with your mental and emotional intent. When your body language, facial expressions, gestures, tone, and posture all support your message, your influence multiplies. This alignment creates authenticity, which is a cornerstone of persuasion. People trust what feels real, and nothing feels more real than someone whose words and actions are in harmony. In the next chapter, we'll delve deeper into emotional intelligence, how mastering your own emotions and understanding others can amplify your persuasive power even further. Chapter 6. Proven Persuasion Techniques, Unlocking the Tools of Influence That Get Results. Persuasion is not guesswork. It's a skill set based on timeless principles and field-tested techniques. In this chapter, we'll explore the most effective persuasion strategies used by top negotiators, marketers, psychologists, and everyday influencers. These methods work because they're rooted in human psychology and tested in real-life scenarios. When used ethically and deliberately, they can help you win trust, guide decisions, and inspire action. Point 1. Reciprocity. Give first to receive. People feel an innate obligation to return favors. This principle is powerful because it taps into our deep-rooted social conditioning. When you do something for someone, even something small, they're more likely to say yes. When you ask for something in return, application tips. Offer value first, share a helpful insight, give a genuine compliment, or provide assistance. Make your gift feel personalized and unexpected. It increases emotional impact. Don't expect immediate returns. Let reciprocity build organically. Example: a salesperson gives a free sample, knowing customers are more likely to buy as a result. Point 2. Social proof. Leverage what others are doing. People often look to others to determine how they should behave, especially in uncertain situations. This is why testimonials, reviews, and popularity indicators are so influential. Application tips. Showcase testimonials, success stories, and case studies. Use phrases like "most people choose" or "thousands have already tried." Highlight group behaviors to make people feel they're joining something trusted. Example: a website that shows how many users are currently viewing a product taps into this principle effectively. Point 3. Scarcity. Use the fear of missing out, FOMO. When something is limited or exclusive, it becomes more desirable. Scarcity creates urgency and nudges people to act before they lose the opportunity. Application tips. Emphasize limited time, quantity, or access. Frame your message to show what the audience stands to lose by not acting. Use countdown timers or "only a few spots left" notices strategically. Caution: use scarcity honestly. Artificial urgency damages trust if discovered. Point 4. Authority. Be the expert people trust. People are more likely to be influenced by someone who is credible, knowledgeable, or in a position of authority. This doesn't mean flaunting titles. It means positioning yourself as a trusted guide. Application tips. Share your credentials, achievements, or third-party endorsements. Communicate confidently and clearly. Uncertainty weakens authority. Use authoritative design elements in digital content. Clean, professional, and informative. Example: doctors wearing white coats are more persuasive simply because of how they appear and are perceived. Point 5. Consistency. Align with previous commitments. Once people commit to something, even in small ways, they're more likely to stay consistent with that decision. This is especially true when the commitment is public or written. Application tips. Start with small yes questions to build agreement. Ask for written or verbal commitments. Reinforce identity-based commitments, e.g., you're the kind of person who values honesty. Example: a charity that first asks someone to sign a petition is more likely to get a donation later. Point 6. Liking. People say yes to those they like. We are more likely to be influenced by people we find attractive, similar to ourselves, or who simply make us feel good. This is the basis of relationship selling and interpersonal persuasion. Application tips. Find genuine common ground, shared interests, values, or experiences. Be warm, approachable, and authentic. Use mirroring subtly to build connection. Match tone, posture, and pace. Example: A salesperson who takes time to connect on a personal level before pitching is more successful. Point 7. Storytelling, influence. Through emotion and narrative, facts tell, but stories sell. A well-told story engages both the rational and emotional mind. It helps the listener see themselves in the narrative, feel the message, and remember it longer. Application tips. Use personal stories that demonstrate transformation, struggle, or success. Structure stories with a clear beginning, middle, and end. Tie the story directly to the point or decision you want the audience to make. Example: an entrepreneur pitching an idea might tell the story of how they struggled with the problem and how their product provided a breakthrough solution. Point 8. Contrast. Make options stand out. When two things are presented together, the difference between them becomes more noticeable. This principle is used heavily in pricing strategies, negotiations, and proposals. Application tips. Present a high-priced option first to make subsequent options seem more reasonable. Show the contrast between before and after scenarios. Highlight what's gained by choosing your option versus the alternative. Example: offering a premium and a standard package makes the standard package appear like a better value. By comparison. Point 9. Anchoring. Set the frame for decision-making. People tend to rely heavily on the first piece of information they see. This initial reference point, called an anchor, shapes all judgments that follow. Application tips. Introduce a strong opening number or idea to frame expectations. Use comparisons intentionally. Start high to make the actual offer seem fair. Anchor emotions too, not just numbers. Start with pain points, then offer relief. Example: real estate agents show an overpriced home first, making the next home seem like a great deal. Point 10. The yes ladder. Build up to bigger agreements rather than pushing for a major commitment right away. Skilled persuaders build a series of smaller agreements that lead naturally to the final yes. Application tips. Begin with easy, low-risk requests. Use momentum. Each small yes makes the next one easier. Design your offers in tiers: free trial, starter plan, premium package. Example: a free consultation leads to a small purchase, which leads to a long-term subscription. Final thoughts on using these techniques. These techniques are tools, neither inherently good nor bad. Their power lies in how you use them. When applied ethically, they create win-win scenarios where both you and your audience benefit. Persuasion, at its best, isn't manipulation, it's guidance. You're helping others see the value, make confident decisions, and act in their best interest. In the chapters ahead, we'll explore how to apply these principles in real-world scenarios, from sales to leadership to everyday conversations, so you can turn knowledge into practical, repeatable influence. Chapter 7. Persuading in Conversations. Persuasion isn't confined to presentations, pitches, or formal sales encounters. It lives and breathes in the everyday conversations we have with friends, family, coworkers, clients, and even strangers. These are the moments where influence happens most naturally and authentically. In this chapter, we'll explore how to subtly and effectively persuade others during regular conversations, turning casual talk into powerful opportunities to guide thought, shift beliefs, and inspire action. Point 1. The power of everyday influence. Most people underestimate the power of casual conversations. They think persuasion is something grand, like delivering a compelling TED Talk or closing a multi-million-dollar deal. But real influence often happens during lunch breaks, hallway chats, video calls, or text threads. When done correctly, conversational persuasion feels seamless, respectful, and collaborative. Unlike structured presentations, conversational persuasion thrives on flexibility. It's less about delivering a performance and more about guiding a dialogue toward a win-win outcome. Point 2. Start with curiosity, not control. A great persuader enters a conversation with curiosity, not with a script. Instead of trying to immediately make your point or dominate the exchange, ask insightful questions that show you care about the other person's thoughts and feelings. Examples of influence-driven questions. How do you feel about this idea? What's most important to you in this situation? Can you help me understand your perspective? By asking instead of asserting, you disarm resistance. People are far more open to influence when they feel heard and respected. Curiosity opens the door to empathy, and empathy opens the door to persuasion. Point 3. Mirror and match. One of the most powerful psychological techniques for conversational influence is mirroring, subtly reflecting the other person's body language, tone, and even phrasing. This builds subconscious rapport. Tips for effective mirroring: match the pace and volume of the other person's voice. Reflect similar posture or gestures naturally. Use keywords or phrases they've used during the conversation. When people feel you're like them, they let their guard down. They're more likely to listen, trust, and ultimately agree with you. Point 4. Guide with empathy. Persuasion is not manipulation. It's not about pushing someone toward your goal. It's about guiding them toward a mutually beneficial outcome. That guidance starts with emotional connection. Empathetic phrases that lead to influence. I see where you're coming from. That sounds really important to you. I'd feel the same way if I were in your position. By validating their emotions, you create a bridge of trust. From there, you can gently guide the conversation toward new ideas or perspectives without triggering resistance. Point 5. Use stories over statements. People don't just respond to facts, they respond to stories. In conversations, stories slip past skepticism and connect with emotion. If you want to change someone's mind, don't argue. Tell a relatable story that illustrates your point. Elements of a persuasive story: a relatable character or scenario, a clear problem or conflict, a resolution that reinforces your message. For example, if you're trying to convince a team to adopt a new tool, instead of listing its features, tell a story about how it saved another team hours of work and helped them win a major client. Stories humanize your message and make it stick. Point 6. Apply the yes ladder. This classic persuasion method involves guiding someone through a series of small agreements that lead to a larger yes. The key is to start with easy-to-agree with statements or questions that build momentum. Example: would you agree that time management is important and that better tools can help us manage time more efficiently? Then wouldn't it make sense to try this tool for a week and see how it helps? Each small yes increases the likelihood of agreement when you ask for the big 1.7. Pay attention to timing and energy. Sometimes persuasion isn't about what you say, it's about when you say it. If the person is stressed, distracted, or emotionally overwhelmed, even the most persuasive language will fall flat. Look for moments when the other person is relaxed or open-minded. The energy of the conversation is positive. You've already established connection and rapport. Persuasion is more like surfing than swimming. You wait for the right wave, then ride it with skill. Point 8. The art of the pause. One of the most underrated tools in conversational persuasion is silence. Strategic pauses show confidence and allow your words to land. They also invite reflection. Use pauses when you've made a key point and want to give it weight. You want to encourage the other person to respond. You sense they need space to process. Silence isn't awkward, it's powerful. It shows you're not desperate for approval and creates space for the other person to lean into the dialogue. Point 9. Know when to let go. Not every conversation will lead to agreement, and that's okay. Part of being a skilled persuader is knowing when to back off gracefully. If someone resists too strongly, pushing further will only damage the relationship. Instead, leave the door open for future discussion. You've given me a lot to think about. Maybe we can revisit this later. Let's put a pin in it and see how things evolve. No pressure. I'm always open to more dialogue when the time is right. Sometimes the best persuasion is patience. Point 10. Practice makes you natural. Conversational persuasion isn't about memorizing tricks. It's about becoming someone who naturally understands people, connects with ease, and leads with purpose. The more you practice, the more natural it feels. Over time, you'll develop an intuitive sense for when to speak, how to listen, and how to guide the flow of dialogue with grace and impact. Final thought: mastering the art of persuading in conversations is like learning a dance. It's fluid, adaptive, and deeply human. When you approach it with authenticity, empathy, and curiosity, you'll find that people don't just listen to you, they trust you. And trust is the foundation of lasting influence. Next, in Chapter 8, we'll explore how persuasion applies in the professional world, especially in business and leadership, where stakes are high and the ability to guide decisions can define success. Chapter 8. Persuasion in Sales and Business. In the world of sales and business, persuasion is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It separates top performers from average ones. When used ethically, Persuasion becomes the bridge between your offering and the needs of your clients or customers. This chapter will break down how to apply persuasive strategies specifically within business environments, negotiations, and the sales process, so you can connect better, sell smarter, and lead confidently. Understanding the role of persuasion in business, at its core, is built on relationships and decisions. Persuasion helps drive both. Whether you're selling a product, pitching an idea, negotiating a partnership, or managing a team, you're constantly influencing outcomes that in today's crowded marketplace. Features and benefits alone are no longer enough. What matters is how well you can communicate value, solve problems, and build trust. The ability to influence minds and emotions gives you a powerful edge. The persuasive sales framework, a successful sales process, typically follows a clear structure. Let's explore a proven persuasion-based framework to guide your approach. Build rapport and trust. Early trust is the gateway to any persuasive exchange. Use active listening, empathy, and small talk to create a comfortable environment. Be curious and attentive. People are more likely to buy from those they feel understand them. Identify emotional and logical drivers. Every buying decision is a mix of emotion and logic. Persuasive salespeople know how to uncover both. Emotional drivers might include fear, ambition, desire for status, or the need for security. Logical drivers involve facts, numbers, return on investment, and features. Ask open-ended questions to explore both types and tailor your pitch accordingly. Present solutions, not products. Sell outcomes, not items. For example, don't just say, "This software tracks expenses." Say, "This software helps you save hours of manual work and reduces financial stress." Focus on what the product does for the person, not just what it is. Use persuasive language techniques. Apply the techniques we explored earlier: scarcity, social proof, reciprocity, and authority. Speak clearly, confidently, and positively. Highlight success stories and case studies that reflect your audience's situation. Handle objections with confidence. Objections aren't rejections. They're opportunities to clarify and reassure. Common persuasive strategies include acknowledge and reframe. That's a valid concern. What many clients found is that empathize and educate. I understand why that might seem expensive, but let me show you the long-term value. Offer options. Give flexible solutions to reduce hesitation. Close with integrity. A persuasive close doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like a natural next step. Ask questions like, based on everything we discussed, do you feel this solution aligns with your needs? Is there anything else you need to feel confident moving forward? Create urgency without manipulation and be ready to walk away respectfully if it's not the right fit. Persuasion in business leadership. Beyond sales, persuasion is critical in leadership and management. Influential leaders know how to rally teams, inspire vision, and gain buy-in for ideas. Here's how persuasion plays a role in effective leadership. Vision casting. Leaders paint a compelling picture of the future and persuade others to follow it. Motivating teams. Influence boosts morale and productivity when leaders speak to personal values and shared goals. Managing conflict. Persuasive communication helps resolve disagreements, restore trust, and find win-win solutions. Driving change. Leaders must overcome resistance and persuade teams to embrace new strategies or technologies. Point one hallmark of persuasive leadership is consistency. When your words, actions, and values align, your influence becomes magnetic. Persuasion. In negotiations. In business negotiations, whether contracts, partnerships, or internal decisions, persuasion is essential. Here are key persuasive negotiation tactics. Anchor. First, set the tone by making the first offer when possible. This anchor influences the range of discussion and frames the negotiation in your favor. Use the power of silence after presenting an offer or proposal. Resist the urge to fill silence. Often, your counterpart will speak to fill the gap, sometimes offering concessions or revealing more information. Frame wins. Strategically focus on shared wins, not personal victories. Use inclusive language. Here's how we both benefit from this structure. Read nonverbal cues. Pay attention to body language, facial expressions, and tone. These subtle signs often reveal hesitation, agreement, or resistance. Establish BATNA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Know your options if the negotiation fails. This strengthens your confidence and helps you avoid accepting unfavorable terms. Ethics in business persuasion: with great power comes great responsibility. Ethical persuasion ensures your influence builds lasting relationships rather than short-term gains. Always ask, is this in the best interest of the other person? Am I being transparent about the value and limits of what I offer? Would I be comfortable if the roles were reversed? Ethical persuasion is rooted in respect, integrity, and service. Real-world example: the persuasive sales pitch. Imagine you're pitching a digital marketing service to a small business owner. Instead of saying, "We offer SEO, ads, and social media services," you say, "Right now, you're probably getting traffic from referrals, but imagine having a system that brings in new customers consistently, even while you sleep. That's what our service is designed to do. Let me show you how we helped a business like yours grow 60% in just 6 months." This approach connects emotionally, presents results, and builds intrigue. That's persuasion in action. Final thoughts on business influence. In business, persuasion isn't about manipulation. It's about clarity, value, and connection. Whether you're closing a deal, managing a team, or presenting to investors, your ability to influence determines your success. By listening deeply, communicating clearly, and acting with integrity, you can master the art of persuasion and become a trusted, impactful voice in any business environment. Next, we'll explore how to protect yourself from manipulation and stay grounded in authentic influence. Chapter 9: Digital Age Persuasion: Mastering Influence in a Connected World. The rise of the internet, social media, and digital communication has transformed how we interact, make decisions, and influence others. The tools and platforms available today offer unprecedented opportunities to persuade vast audiences quickly, but they also introduce new challenges: noise, skepticism, and fleeting attention spans. In this chapter, we'll explore how to adapt timeless persuasion principles to the digital age and use technology to your advantage while maintaining authenticity and ethical influence. The changing landscape of influence: in the past, persuasion often happened face-to-face or through one-on-one conversations. Today, digital channels such as emails, social media, blogs, videos, podcasts, and online ads dominate communication. These platforms allow you to reach millions, but they also demand different approaches because attention is scarce. People scroll, skim, and multitask constantly. Trust is fragile. Misinformation and scams have made audiences skeptical. Communication is asynchronous. There's often no immediate feedback. Messages compete in a crowded space. Noise and clutter make it harder to stand out. Understanding these realities is the first step toward effective digital persuasion. Point 1: crafting clear, compelling messages. Digital communication often lacks the nuances of tone, facial expressions, and body language, which makes clear and compelling messaging essential. Strategies: be concise. Use short sentences and paragraphs. Get to the point quickly. Use strong headlines. The headline or subject line is your first, and sometimes only, chance to grab attention. Include a clear call to action. CTA: tell your audience exactly what you want them to do next. Use visuals. Images, videos, and infographics enhance understanding and emotional impact. Make content skimmable. Use bullet points, subheadings, and highlights for easy reading. Point 2: building trust and credibility. Online trust is even more critical online, where people can't meet you in person. Here's how to build credibility digitally. Show social proof. Display reviews, testimonials, case studies, and follower counts. Maintain consistency. Regularly post valuable, authentic content. Engage authentically. Respond to comments and messages with genuine interest. Be transparent. Share your story, values, and behind-the-scenes glimpses. Use professional design. A polished website or profile signals reliability. Point 3: leveraging social proof and community. Social proof works powerfully online through likes, shares, comments, and endorsements. Communities amplify influence by creating a sense of belonging and validation. How to use social proof digitally. Encourage satisfied customers to leave reviews. Showcase user-generated content. Highlight endorsements from influencers or experts. Build and nurture online communities, forums, groups, or membership sites. People want to join movements, not just buy products. Creating a sense of community turns followers into loyal advocates. Point 4. Personalization at scale. One of the great advantages of digital tools is the ability to personalize communication based on data and behavior. Examples of personalization: sending tailored emails based on previous purchases or interests, using retargeting ads that remind users of products they viewed, addressing users by name and referencing their location or preferences, creating segmented content that speaks directly to different audience groups. Personalized messages resonate more deeply and increase the likelihood of action. Point 5. Storytelling through digital format. Stories remain at the heart of persuasion, but the formats evolve. Short videos can convey emotion and build connection quickly. Podcasts, long-form audio storytelling builds intimacy and trust. Blogs, written stories allow for depth and SEO reach. Social media stories and reels, bite-sized, ephemeral content taps into trends and immediacy. The key is to adapt your story to the medium and your audience's consumption habits. Point 6. Ethical considerations in digital persuasion. Digital persuasion carries risks of manipulation, misinformation, and privacy invasion. Ethical influence online means respecting privacy and data protection, avoiding deceptive practices or exaggerated claims, providing honest information about products and services, disclosing sponsorships and partnerships transparently, fostering respectful, inclusive online environments. Ethical digital persuasion builds long-term trust and sustainability. Point 7. The role of algorithms and analytics. Algorithms shape what content people see on social platforms and search engines. Understanding and working with these algorithms can boost your persuasive reach. Use keywords and hashtags thoughtfully to improve discoverability. Post consistently at times when your audience is most active. Engage with your audience to increase content visibility. Use analytics to track what content resonates and adjust strategies accordingly. Point 8. Overcoming digital distrust. Many people approach digital messages with skepticism. Overcoming this requires building relationships before pitching, providing consistent value without always asking for something, being authentic, transparent, and human in your communication, encouraging two-way dialogue rather than one-sided broadcasts. Point 9. The future of digital persuasion. Emerging technologies like AI, virtual reality, and augmented reality will redefine digital persuasion. These tools offer immersive, personalized experiences that can deepen influence but also raise ethical questions about consent and manipulation. Staying informed and adaptable will be crucial as digital persuasion continues to evolve. Final thoughts. The digital age offers enormous opportunities for persuasion, but it demands new skills and heightened responsibility. By crafting clear messages, building genuine trust, leveraging community, personalizing communication, and acting ethically, you can harness digital platforms to influence effectively and authentically. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to handle resistance and objections gracefully, turning no into an opportunity for connection and understanding. Chapter 10. Becoming an irresistible influencer. Unlocking the secrets to magnetic, authentic influence. Influence is more than persuasion techniques or strategic communication. It's a magnetic quality that draws people toward you naturally. Becoming an irresistible influencer means cultivating authenticity, trust, empathy, and presence in a way that makes others want to listen, follow, and be inspired by you. This final chapter uncovers how to embody those qualities so your influence becomes effortless, ethical, and enduring. The essence of irresistible influence. Irresistible influencers don't just convince people. They inspire genuine admiration and loyalty. This influence is rooted not in coercion, but in connection. People are drawn to individuals who are authentic, true to themselves, and transparent in their intentions. Empathetic, able to understand and resonate with others' feelings. Confident, calmly assured without arrogance. Consistent, reliable, and aligned in words and actions. Passionate, deeply invested in their purpose. When these qualities combine, influence flows naturally, and persuasion feels like a mutual journey rather than a battle. Point 1. Cultivate authenticity. Authenticity is the cornerstone of irresistible influence. In a world filled with superficiality and spin, Being genuine stands out like a beacon. How to cultivate authenticity. Know your values and stand firmly by them. Share your story, including struggles and vulnerabilities. Speak in your own voice, not what you think others want to hear. Avoid exaggeration or false promises. People sense when you're being real, and real creates trust. Point 2. Develop deep empathy. Empathy allows you to connect on a human level. It involves actively listening, understanding unspoken needs, and responding. With compassion, empathy practices, practice active listening. Fully focus on the speaker without interrupting. Reflect feelings back to show understanding. Ask questions that explore emotions as well as facts. Be patient and non-judgmental. Empathy builds bridges where persuasion can cross without resistance. Point 3. Build unshakable confidence. Confidence is attractive, but it must be grounded in competence and self-awareness rather than arrogance. Build confident influence. Prepare thoroughly. Know your subject inside and out. Use positive self-talk and visualization before interactions. Accept mistakes as learning opportunities. Maintain calm body language and steady tone. Confident influencers radiate calm assurance that reassures and motivates others. Point 4. Practice consistency and integrity. Your influence grows when people know what to expect from you. Consistency in behavior, communication, and values creates a reputation of reliability. Consistency tips. Follow through on commitments. Align your actions with your words. Maintain regular communication with your audience. Admit when you're wrong and make amends promptly. Integrity is the glue that holds your influence together over time. Point 5. Express passion and purpose. People are drawn to passion because it signals meaning and energy. When you speak or act from a place of purpose, your enthusiasm becomes contagious. Ways to express passion. Share why your message matters deeply to you. Use vivid language and expressive storytelling. Show excitement through your voice and body language. Connect your purpose to the needs and dreams of your audience. Passion transforms influence into inspiration. Point 6. Develop magnetic communication skills. Irresistible influencers speak with clarity, warmth, and charisma. Magnetic communication includes using engaging stories and analogies, modulating your tone to maintain interest, using pauses effectively, reading and responding to audience cues, being succinct but impactful. The goal is to create connection, not just convey information. Point 7. Master the art of presence. Presence means being fully engaged and aware in the moment. When you're present, you give others your full attention, making them feel valued and important. How to cultivate presence. Minimize distractions during conversations. Practice mindfulness and deep breathing. Maintain eye contact and open body language. Respond authentically rather than mechanically. Presence magnifies your influence by creating a powerful emotional experience. Point 8. Nurture relationships beyond transactions. Influence lasts when it's rooted in meaningful relationships, not one-off exchanges. Focus on building rapport and trust over time. Relationship building strategies. Check in regularly without an agenda. Celebrate others' successes genuinely. Offer help without expecting immediate returns. Be generous with your time, knowledge, and encouragement. Strong relationships create a loyal base that amplifies your influence exponentially. Point 9. Led by example. Actions often speak louder than words. Living by the principles you advocate makes your influence credible and inspiring. Lead by example by demonstrating the behaviors and attitudes you encourage, maintaining accountability for your actions, showing humility and openness to feedback, embracing continuous growth and learning. People follow those who walk the talk. Point 10. Stay humble and open-minded. Even the most influential people don't have all the answers. Staying humble and open invites collaboration and continuous improvement. Practices. For humility, admit what you don't know. Invite diverse perspectives. Learn from failures and successes alike. Recognize and appreciate others' contributions. Humility deepens trust and expands your influence beyond yourself. Final thoughts. Becoming an irresistible influencer is a journey of growth, self-awareness, and intentional practice. It's less about mastering tactics and more about embodying qualities that invite others in. When you combine authenticity, empathy, confidence, consistency, and passion, your influence transcends persuasion. it becomes a force for positive, lasting impact. This book has given you the tools and insights to master persuasion. Now it's time to step into your role as an influencer who leads with integrity and inspires change wherever you go. Concluding your journey to mastering the art of persuasion. As we reach the end of this guide, it's important to reflect on what you've learned and the path that lies ahead. Mastering the art of persuasion is not about quick tricks or manipulative tactics. It's a profound journey of understanding human nature, refining your communication, and cultivating genuine connections. This book has equipped you with both timeless principles and modern strategies to influence ethically and effectively. Persuasion is a skill, not a gift. Many believe that the ability to persuade is something you're born with, a mysterious talent possessed by a select few. The truth is far more empowering. Persuasion is a skill anyone can develop. Like any skill, it requires practice, patience, and self-awareness. By studying psychology, honing your mindset, mastering verbal and nonverbal communication, and applying proven techniques, you transform yourself into a confident, compelling influencer. Remember, every expert started as a beginner. Influence is rooted in connection. At the heart of persuasion lies connection. People are not persuaded by words alone. They are moved by relationships built on trust, empathy, and authenticity. The most effective persuaders are those who genuinely care about the people they engage with and seek mutually beneficial outcomes. Strive to listen more than you speak. Seek to understand before you aim to be understood. Influence flows naturally when people feel seen, heard, and valued. Ethical persuasion builds lasting impact. With influence comes responsibility. Ethical persuasion respects others' autonomy, communicates transparently, and prioritizes long-term trust over short-term gains. Manipulative tactics may yield temporary wins, but they erode credibility and damage relationships. Your goal as a master persuader is to inspire choice, not force it. When you persuade with integrity, you build a foundation for enduring success and meaningful impact. Adaptability is key in a changing world. The landscape of communication and influence continues to evolve rapidly, especially with digital technologies reshaping how we connect. The principles you've learned are timeless, but your application of them must remain flexible. Stay curious, keep learning, and embrace new tools and platforms that allow you to reach and inspire others. The best persuaders are lifelong students of human behavior and communication. Your influence can change lives. Persuasion is more than a personal advantage. It's a powerful force for positive change. When you use your influence thoughtfully, you can help others overcome doubts, adopt healthier habits, embrace innovation, or unite around important causes. The skills you cultivate are tools to uplift, empower, and transform both yourself and the world around you. Take the first step and keep moving forward. Mastery is a journey without a final destination. Every conversation is an opportunity to practice. Every interaction is a chance to deepen your influence. Commit to continuous growth. Reflect on your experiences, seek feedback, and refine your approach. Celebrate your progress, and don't fear mistakes. They are stepping stones to excellence. Final encouragement: you now hold the knowledge to become a persuasive, ethical, and influential communicator. Use it wisely. Approach persuasion as a way to serve, connect, and inspire. The art of persuasion is yours to master, one authentic conversation at a time. Go forth with confidence, integrity, and purpose. Your influence awaits.